Welcome to Bridal Owner Success Stories. I'm your host, Mindi Linscombe, founder of Bridal Owner Success School, also known as BOSS. Each episode of this podcast, we will dive deep into hearing the stories of successful bridal shop owners, uncovering their biggest challenges and their valuable life lessons. I can't wait for you to get to know them as well. Let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to the BOSS podcast, which stands for Bridal Owner Success Stories. And today in the studio, I have the one and only, the beautiful Halie from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and owner of the Bridal Bar. Hi, Halie. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Mindi. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I've never been on a podcast before.
Okay, well, you are someone who sets records for being the first to do anything. So I think we should start with what we think we know about the research we've done regarding your spot in this industry. So what do we think, Halie?
We think that I am currently the youngest bridal store owner in the country.
Which makes you how old?
I'm 26. However, I do think that Tiffany from Pre-Shea Bridal maybe beat me because I think she was like 20. But currently, I think I am the youngest.
There you go. Well, and I started mine at 27. So again, currently, like you said, operating a bridal shop in 2024, you might be the youngest bridal owner. And kudos to you for taking the risk to jump into this thing called entrepreneurship at such a young age, because it takes a lot of bravery and courage and extreme acceleration when it comes to adulting. So I would like to ask you if we could just begin a little bit about your story. I'm assuming you went off to college like every normal person, you know, looking towards the future is like maybe the next step is college. So where did you go to college?
I went to Cedarville University in Dayton, Ohio. Go Jackets.
Awesome.
I played tennis there and was involved in all kinds of things. I was the president of our athletic advisory committee. I did a Joe ministry. I did all kinds of stuff.
So yeah. And what was your degree in?
I actually was an allied health major. So I was studying to be a physician assistant. So very different than look at me now.
I know. Okay. So right after college, what did you do?
Yeah. So my goal was to be a physician assistant. I went and worked in EMS. So I am an active EMT. So I worked for a volunteer fire department and then worked in more of a private sector for a company in Indianapolis and just transported patients and took care of different emergency situations, getting my hours to be a physician assistant.
Okay. And then one day I don't know, tell me what happened.
I moved to Fort Wayne. So this is an hour from my hometown north. I moved here because I got into St. Francis in Fort Wayne and went to PA school. So I went for a short time. At that point, it was the heart of COVID and felt very much so. I was very burnout in taking care of patients. But I think my heart has always been deep in a desire and love for caring for others. And I just have a deep love for people. So I think that naturally wove together, but it was hard constantly being around people that were hurting and in difficult situations. So I was pretty burnt out of taking care of patients, and my parents were like, I think you need to be done. And so I prayed about it. The next day I quit PA school out of nowhere. So it was very kind of a wild story, and I went back to healthcare. But during that time, I had this dream and vision of owning a bridal store. So when I was at Cedarville, it's a Christian college. And so there is this thing called Ring by Spring, which I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I have.
Yes.
Christian colleges everywhere.
Correct. So I was surrounded by people getting married, and a ton of them were asking me to be in their weddings. And so I have been in 18 weddings. And one of my college teammates, Lauren Jackson, this is a shout out for her. She constantly would say when we played college tennis together, she was like, you should be in the bridal industry. People love being around you in this season of their lives. Like, you should work in it. And I thought she was crazy. So it's funny.
We need to send her a thank you card.
Thank you, Lauren Jackson.
Okay, I love it.
So, yeah, that's how I ended up in the industry.
So did you work at a bridal shop first?
Never. I had never sold a bridal gown before opening my own store, which is so wild
So
and
wait, your friend says you should work with brides. They love to be with you in this season of your life. And your mind went straight to not go work at a bridal store. Your mind went to, okay, I will start and not even buy a bridal shop that's pre-existing. I will just start from scratch.
yes. So I actually, this was later, that was some foreshadowing. Later in my life, one of my very best friends was getting married, and I went to the wedding studio in Indianapolis. It's owned by Adrienne Love. And I got to meet her during that bridal appointment, and she was sharing a little bit about her life. She was in healthcare before and then opened this store. And I was just saw so much of myself, and it was like this revelation. And I left and I went home. I told my parents, I believe I am supposed to open a bridal store. And I think that I have the capability to learn it and absolutely crush it. And they both looked at each other, laughed, and were like, yeah, do some research. Like you would be great in the industry. And they believed in me, and I ended up getting, with their help, opening the store.
So were they your investors then? I'm assuming they were like, instead of going to a bank, because it's
Yeah,
hard. I'm just going to say it is very hard for anybody listening who wants to go start a business and they don't have business experience or a proven track record of sales to get a bank to jump on board. And I have to just put this out there, Halie.
yeah,
Even after I've been open, um, 3 years and was trying to expand and I had this amazing track record of sales just like you are doing. My bank still wouldn't even lend me the money even with 3 years of sales because they're like, oh, this is a little risky. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know how you would have gone to a bank and gotten lending.
correct.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my parents, I had saved up a lot of money. And so I put half of it down, and then they put the other half.
Okay.
And we were able to pay off our investment in like a little over 6 months. So
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I do think, not to like say, oh, this is everything, but it helped that you and I connected because imagine navigating some of it is definitely your gut, some of it is your grit. Like you have all those things. But then being able to accelerate the speed of expansion and success by hiring a business coach, right? It's like, oh my gosh, if I hire somebody who's like 20 years down the road from me, I'm going to go faster, farther, faster. And so I always tell people that are like, oh, should I get a coach or not? I mean, right now I'm even doing this whole 30 days of why you need a business coach because I'm like, literally, there are so many reasons and benefits. I just want to say thank you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known you. I'm
yeah,
so glad to know you.
yeah, no, it has been amazing working with you. And when I started the business and started this process, my dad just said seriously, the one thing he told me that he wanted me to never forget throughout this process was, you've never done this alone. Like, it is never in a prideful type thing, always have humility and always acknowledge all of the people in which helped you get started. And you have been a huge piece of that, of just helping me, even things I just didn't know solely because I wasn't in the industry before. It's so nice to have the resources and the connections from just being at different events with you, and it just helps a ton to have those people in your corner. So
Well, but I got to go back to like a lot of people have hired me and have paid for education and things like that and still not seeing the results you've seen because it's one thing to acknowledge it's a need, but another thing, Halie, to do, like I said, the gritty day to day, not fun things. Like I just still have a picture of my mind when I got to see you in Indiana, like locking up your store at night, thinking about how she does this every night and she's putting her time in. And it's that long, steady, consistent approach of taking care of brides, taking care of your business. And it's not always glamorous. And I think we should hop into that. But like, kudos to you. I wish every night, just picture me thinking about you
thank
and
you.
wishing I could give you a big hug and say, you did another good day at the shop. Like you did another good day at the shop. Like I will never forget that visual of your lights going out and you head into your car and just thinking, I remember when that was me and people didn't believe that like this could turn into something really big. I was 27 years old and I was locking up my little 900 square foot store by myself, lonely, like that was a hard day and nobody saw all that I did to give me a high five or like, wow, you really handled that vendor situation well. I mean, wow. Like, I just want to say you're in the thick of it. And I'm very proud of you, even if I'm not there in person. Just know I picture you often and I wish I could give you a big hug because I'm so, so proud of you.
Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes a lot of endurance. And I would also say, you know, in what we created here with it being the bridal bar, it's a very private experience. And we wanted it to be something that was such a like pure and wholesome moment. And so it does take a lot of endurance to keep that standard and quality that we're offering to our brides every day, you know, because I
Yeah.
can work and I have my days where I'm like, this is hard. I'm tired. I don't feel good, you know, or whatever. Or this bride is definitely not buying. Like she's having her dress made. She just told me she's got her friend that's going to help her make it. And I have to still, you know, put my smile on and be so excited that I'm spending all this time with someone who's kind of using me and, you know, or whatever it is. It's just
Yeah.
part of it. And so creating that experience and staying true to what I wanted, my vision and my mission, because I feel like it is more of a ministry for me. I just believe that this season, just being 26, I am the age of a lot of brides that are getting married. And it is so different from when our parents and our friends, and, you know, people, you know, that are older that got married, where they got married in the church and they had the reception with some cake down in the basement, you know, and it was just never this big thing. It was never much money put into it. And now it is totally different. You know, did you have late night snacks and are the flowers perfect? And do the does the shirt match all, you know, does the color of the groom's shirt match the dress? And do the, you know, there's so many more details and pressure because of social media. And so my goal and hope in what we've created is that we can take off some of that load for the brides and they can be here. We lock the door, it's just them, and that their families, you know, all the women that mean so much to them in their lives are standing here supporting them, and that they can have this moment that isn't mundane. It is so unique, and that they can feel so beautiful and secure and comfortable in making what seems like such a huge decision.
It's so awesome. Okay. Uh, Curious because you said so many fun and relatable things.
Okay.
When you imagine being a bridal shop owner and then now fast forward to today, how is it different than what you imagined? Like, what were some crazy surprises? Like, they could be good or not good. In the sense of like, oh, I thought this was going to be so, like, I think of so many things I thought it was going to be and how far from what it actually was it is.
I would say the biggest thing is in the beginning, I knew I had to have a lot of humility and I had to say a lot of times, I don't know. And I did. I was like, I don't know how to bookkeep. I don't know anything about bridal. So I had to learn all of it. But I would say the most recent and like hard thing that I wasn't expecting is that never ends. I was hoping there would just be a point where I was like, I'm established, you know, we've been open a long time. And I would say the opposite. Like we're getting to this point where we're growing so fast, we need to expand. And now I need to get staff because it's only been me and my high school intern. And so I'm like, I need staff, I need to train people. And then having people come in our store, I have to actually create processes that work for them, you know? My high school intern sometimes looks at me and she's like, that is your like jargon. I need a process. Like I need a system. And so there's been a lot of humility in that too, of constantly having to work on myself. I tend to be a little messier. So like she's like, okay, we got to create some kind of system. So that has been the hardest thing of being open enough to accept criticism and continue to work on myself.
Yeah, it's good. And sometimes getting our brain on paper takes a lot of like work to be like, okay, it's obvious to us. We've been doing this for however long, and then to explain and teach it to someone else is a whole nother game plan. And also to your point, we've worked with owners of businesses that are 40, 50 years old in their business, not as a person, but their businesses are that old. And I'm so proud of them to still keep learning, because you never know it all. Like, you don't. Like, even I'm still learning. I pay for coaches to speak into my life. I'm
Yeah.
still learning. And what's crazy about bridal is that as soon as you solve one problem, you now have another one. So, for example, as soon as you are, let's say you start with, I want to see more brides. So as soon as you build the traffic module and you're like, I'm really getting more brides, now you're like, I need to get a team,
Yes.
or I need to develop the team I have, or whatever it might be. I need my team to be the focus. Then once you get the team all dialed in and everything else, then you're like, okay, now we need more brides for that team.
Yes.
So it's just a constant growth module.
Absolutely. And even just, I'm like, okay, I have one problem. I have all these people coming in the door, and we have so many brides and their moms. They're like, do you take the whole week off? Since you only see brides at night and in the evenings. And I'm like, if you only knew, it is not that. There is so much behind the scenes. So you get all these brides in. Now you have all these orders. You have so many more appointments, so many more things to tackle.
Then you got to talk with your vendors. You got to handle all the daily admin. There's so much. I mean, just the marketing component for a bridal shop alone is so much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, you do not take the week off. Actually, you know what, the funniest meme I saw recently on Facebook about this topic was something like, I quit the job where I was working 9 to 5 so hard so that I could work, you know, 24 hours a day for myself. Like it was just so hard to work 8 hours a day. So I quit that job, and now I'm going to work 24 hours a day.
Yes, I know. I did a TikTok recently from a Love Island girl that was basically like, he's just not, like, he's such a nice guy, but he's just not crazy enough. And I was like, I quit my 9 to 5 job because he just wasn't enough. Like, I needed more camera
More.
time.
So
He
now
was
you're 24/7.
It was nice just knowing I was getting a paycheck and my insurance was covered and I had nothing else to worry about. So
Yeah. And now you've taken the plunge. I mean, but I can't imagine you enjoying the 9 to 5 either.
no, no. So my dad and my mom growing up, there's this quote. I wrote it down. I should just read it to you because I feel like it's so good. They always talk about this, but it is in reference to like giving people dreams and aspirations. And it says at critical moments in time, you can raise the aspirations of others significantly, especially when they're young, just by believing or just by simply suggesting that they could do something better or more ambitious than that what they thought or had in mind. And I think that is like very rings true for me. Like my parents have always said that. And so my dad was like, you opening this door you're doing something way more ambitious with all the gifts and talents that you've been given than what you were doing at your old job. So it really does. It's totally worth it. It takes a lot of effort and dedication and willingness and commitment to always growing, but it is so fun. Like I love my
Well,
job.
and okay, we can acknowledge, right, that honestly, this isn't for everyone. This
Oh,
is not for like the people that maybe that stresses them out. And I don't want people to live with like anxiety. So if business ownership, because it is risky, if it stresses you out to the point where, you're not healthy, then this isn't for everyone. But for those of us that this is who I feel like it attracts, we want our work and effort to match our reward.
yes.
Because in most career paths, you get a paycheck every other week or whatever. And that's totally supposedly, hopefully, meriting your skill set, right? That it's a match. But if you put in extra work that week, sometimes you don't get paid extra.
Right. Totally.
If you, like, I felt like this in education, I felt like I was totally giving my all, making the most amazing lessons every night, meeting with parents after school to help their students. But it was like all of that was just out of the kindness of my heart, which I love to do. But
Yeah.
it didn't match the reward because my paycheck was always going to be the same unless I increased my degree level or administration or whatever. And so I was like, I think an entrepreneur at the root of it is somebody that's like, if I work harder, I want to make more.
Yes.
I want it to match.
Totally.
Running a successful bridal shop can be challenging, but with the right support, it can also be incredibly rewarding. Hi, I'm Mindi Linscombe, founder of Bridal Owner Success School, aka BOSS. After 17 years in the bridal industry, I've developed proven strategies that drive both positivity and profitability in your business. Through BOSS, you'll receive insightful coaching, time-tested frameworks, and a community of bridal shop owners dedicated to helping each other succeed. Ready to boost your profitability and find more energy in your business? Visit bridalownersuccess.com and sign up for BOSS today.
I would say that it's so rewarding because I finally feel like all the love that I have in my heart is just exploding in this place. And so I get to share all of that with with the people I work with. So
I love it. I love it. And clearly you have found your gifting, right? And
yeah,
bridal shop owners, they're good at celebrating others. That is the one common factor I've seen across the board of everybody I've ever met in this industry. They're really good at celebrating others and making them feel loved and important and everything else. And I think that if that's your goal, the sales will follow, right?
yes, totally. I couldn't agree more. My dad says my special gift is making, or my superpower is making people feel special. And I think that embodies who I am and what we do here at the store. So
Yes, yes. So, let's see here. We wanted to talk a little bit about when you got into it and you started selling wedding dresses. Did you have any misconceptions that were proven false after starting this business?
yeah, I have plenty.
Okay.
think I think anyone that doesn't own a store or doesn't own something, you see someone that's doing amazing and they're so successful. And I think there's this lack of understanding the grit that goes behind it. So I think I very quickly learned, okay, I actually have to sacrifice a lot. Um, I love spending time with my family and my friends, and summers is my lake season. I love to be on the lake, and I had to like completely give that up. My boyfriend the other day was like, I think you went on the lake one time this summer. And I'm like, I'm after work on an evening. So, but it's good. Our store has just been, we came in the industry in an area that totally needed it. And so we have been booming since we opened, which has been a total blessing. So it's
Yeah.
good. The
Yeah.
soccer.
And hopefully this next summer, Haley, you can, even if it's because I do think bridal shop owners don't have the typical schedule. And I always say if you can release the idea of that your fun day has to be a Saturday,
Yeah.
then you'll be fine. Like, why not go boating on a Tuesday? And there's less people on the lake, you know?
It's yourself. You just
Yeah.
romanticize it.
Yes. And so just kind of getting that would be one of my misconceptions is not really understanding the total opposite schedule I would have from the normal world.
Yes. Like it is hard because I am such a people person that it means a lot to me to be with the people I love, and they all work when I'm off. So that is creating that space and time has been something I'm having to relearn now. Because I'm trying to create more room for my personal life a little bit. I just feel like there's been a lack there a little bit. And so
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
to,
and can I just be honest too? It's also us coming their direction a little bit, but them also coming ours. Like it's both and.
yeah,
I'm so thankful for my husband and my friends that have said, "Hey, we understand Saturdays are like a must be at your business day. So we're going to work with you too on how we can see you and maybe arrange our life a little bit." So it's like we both have to kind of make sacrifices to make sure we have time for each other. But it is a different pace.
yeah. I do remember you telling me at one point, like, the longer that you're in this, you're going to be aware of the people that understand or just have an appreciation and recognition for what you do and want to meet you kind of where you are versus the people who just don't understand at all and it's hard for them and they don't really have any interest in even asking you about your work, which is all I know. So even though
Yeah.
I'm like a broken record, I'm like, sorry you have to hear about the store again. It always becomes about the store. um but it's just so much of what I do. And so it's been cool to
Yeah.
see the people that have come around me, or they're volunteering on our sample sale, just it's,
Yeah.
I
And
need
pay
all,
attention to those people because
yeah,
those are your people, Halie.
yes. And I have a ton of them. I have a huge army around me. So I'm very
That's
thankful. Yeah.
I love that. Well, if you were to give advice to anybody, even in your newness, I know some people listen to this and they've been around forever, or they could be thinking about starting a bridal store. I would like to hear from the 26-year-old in this industry.
Yeah.
What do we need to know that we don't know? Because you have that like extra kind of intel. Let's call it intel. You have intel to the mind of a bride.
I'm the bride.
You
Yeah.
are the bride. And so I just would love for you to give us maybe not business advice, but advice on our clients. Like, who
Yeah.
are these people and how can we do a better job serving them?
Yeah. So I am technically a Gen Z. So I think that the current bride wants to feel known and loved. And I think anyone feels that, but especially in this moment of their life. And there's a lot of pressure, like I said earlier, from social media and outside sources. There's just a ton of comparison. And so if you can come at your bride in a way that is so loving and, hey, I want to come alongside you, I want to support you. We at the Bridal Bar or whatever store you're at, we love you genuinely. We want your day to be perfect, and we want to be able to help you. So whatever that is for you, we want to come alongside you and meet that need. I think if you come from a very genuine place, and if you're very present with the bride when they're there, and I feel like education's helpful when they're standing there, because the brides now want to know something. They're not just picking a dress. They want to know that they've checked off all the boxes. Did I try all the silhouettes? What am I missing? And so if you're constantly pointing out, hey, you tried on the A-line, you hated it. Let's nix it. Check it off. It helps to feel like affirmed and educated, that they're making an educated decision and it's not just emotional. Because I think people are afraid sometimes to make that emotional decision, where if you
Mhm.
can help them feel supported emotionally and then help them feel like they're making a logical decision, I think it serves them very well.
This is so fresh for me because we had a customer service issue with a bride not feeling like she made a good decision. And then it switched to all of a sudden we pressured her in her opinion. And when I reflect back, it's a stylist that's not pressuring at all.
Yeah.
But it's easy to point fingers at somebody that they did that to you when you don't feel like your decision was logical. It was just made in a rush or made with your emotions. And that's a really good piece of advice, because I think if we can help make the connection that it's a good emotion that you're experiencing, well, let's walk through the logical reasons why this also makes sense for you so you don't feel pressured or rushed.
Yes. That would be probably my biggest advice, because I feel like when I educate, it makes a huge difference for the brides, and they feel comfortable. Like, you're right. I've eliminated all of these things. This is what I love. And then they feel like they can say yes.
Yeah,
So
that's
hopefully
good
that,
advice for us to just keep getting in the mindset of, your generation of consumers. And I mean, to be really honest, that's how I wanted to be too. And I'm 20 years older. I'm like, don't be weird, be authentic, help me really make a good decision. And I think that's human nature. We want to be seen, we want to be heard and loved, um and felt like, hey, we want to come alongside you to make the best decision.
yeah. So that would be my advice for bridal store owners. My
Okay.
advice for anyone that's interested in doing this is that, or just anyone that happens to be listening to the podcast, like if they're not a bridal store owner, or they're just, they're 13 and they just happen to come along this and it sounds fun, I would say that um, if there's something you love, no matter what the amount of money that you're being given to do something, if it's something you love and you could see yourself wanting to do it for the rest of your life, do it. Like, I just feel like if I had been in the space of bridal before this, it would have been a no-brainer for me. But I feel like God gave me this and it is his. And so I have a unique situation. Although I do believe there's a verse in Ephesians 3:20 that talks about that he is able to give us like exceedingly abundantly above what we could ever ask or imagine, through the power that he gives us. And I think that he has done that work in me. And so I believe that if there's something you love, you should do it every single day of your life because you spend most of your time working. So if you're willing to take the lead, take a sacrifice to get yourself in a position, even if it's a big corporate company where you can do something that you genuinely love, all of the rewards, all the money, all the benefits, and ultimately the joy of your life will follow.
Yep. That's such good advice. How'd you get so wise at a young age, Halie?
Well, I don't know. I would say I have lots of people that pour into me. So my parents have been a huge blessing into my life. So
I can't wait to get to know them better. They seem really incredible.
yeah, it's nice to have. And if you're a parent like you, allowing your kids to follow their dreams and pushing them in a direction because we all have gifts, talents, and abilities that God's intrinsically given us. And so if you can help groom them into a place where they get to do that, they will be thankful for the rest of their lives. So
That's right.
yeah.
Okay, question as we wrap up. Where can people follow along on the Bridal Bar journey? What's your Instagram and your website and all the things?
So our website is www.thebridalbarboutique.com. Our Instagram, which is very fun to follow. I feel like we're a little trendy, so that's fun. It's trendy.
Personal shout out. There you go.
But it's the Bridal Bar FT Lane for Fort Wayne. And then we have a TikTok that's the Bridal Bar at the Bridal Bar. So you can follow us, and then Facebook, the Bridal Bar.
I love it. So many cool things you're up to. I'm just so excited I want us to work together for a long time because I'm just so excited about all that is transpiring in your dreams. And you're just at the beginning, Halie.
I know. I can't wait to be Yes, I can't wait to be on the podcast in 10 years. And I'll be like, look at my little store.
You're welcome. But thank you for being just so willing to put yourself out there, grow. I'm really, really proud of you. And I'm sure your parents are proud of you too. But we are so cheering you on over here.
Well, if I can give a little nudge for people that are considering working with you, I feel like when you're doing this by yourself, and even if you have a team around you, being an owner is a very different position. So having someone that can come alongside you as an owner and that you get to tell, like, I just hit big goals and I can't wait to call Mindi. It is like encouraging to me. And so thank you for loving me and loving our store and supporting us in any way that you can. And I think that if you are wondering if it's worth the money, it totally is.
Thank you, Halie. Yeah, I try to make sure it's way more value than what you pay for. So that's awesome. Well, okay. For those of you guys listening, follow Halie, follow her store, and we can't wait to see you next time on the Boss Podcast. Bye, guys.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bridal Owner Success Stories. I hope you found some inspiration and encouragement for your own career in the bridal industry. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We are in this together.